Here we are, where the ocean meets the land. A lovely beach, sheltered by the cliffs. What luck! We have the beach all to ourselves this evening. The sun is setting, and the ocean is beginning to shade from gold to pink. Let's take a stroll and get to know this special place a little better. Before we set out, it's always nice to do a little wind down. For tonight's wind down, you're going to use your imagination. So when you're ready, let's begin. So no matter what's been going on today, whether it's been a busy day or a calm one, this is an opportunity to just put everything down. To let go of any inner chatter and just find a place of rest in both the body and the mind. So first, get yourself comfortable in bed, just taking a moment to pause, to be still. And when you're ready, just taking a big, deep breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you breathe out, just allowing the body to sink down into your bed. Feeling the weight of the body, allowing thoughts to come and go. Just imagining a steady flow of warm sunlight just flowing down through the body, dissolving any tension, any discomfort as it begins to fill the body, starting with the toes, moving up through the feet and the legs, being filled with sunlight. The qualities of warmth, space, ease, as it continues to travel up through the body, up past the waist, to the back and the stomach. It's as though it just washes away any discomfort. It continues up through the chest and the back, into the shoulders and down the arms, all the way down to the hands and fingers. A sense of relief in the body. Stillness in the mind as it continues to travel up through the neck and the throat, into the head and face, all the way to the very top of the body. until there's nothing other than that sense of stillness remaining. And now, just gently bringing the attention back to the body. Now you're nice and relaxed. Let's go down the steps. These old concrete steps. Solid concrete with a solid wooden rail, down to where they meet the sand of the beach. The sun is setting out in the ocean, and the shadows are growing longer. It's dusk here on the western edge of the world. It's the perfect evening for a walk on the beach. The waves are washing in, gently washing over the beach, and then flowing back out again. It's like a giant breath, breathing gently in and breathing out again. The sand is grey and yellow, and darker where it's wet, and the foam on the waves is white as cotton wool. It rises at the crests of the waves, and the waves fall onto the beach. Crash. The waves run in and then rush out again with a whoosh. Like many things, the more you look at the beach, the more you see. There is a band of pebbles that runs down the middle of it, a band of tiny grey stones. And when you look more closely, you can see that the ocean, through the crashing of the waves, has arranged them, rather delicately, in size order. Further down the beach are bigger pebbles, some flattened, ideal for skimming on the water's surface on calm days. Some are large, black and heavy as paperweights. But as you go further up this band of pebbles, you can see that these are smaller, the size of little robin's eggs. And up here, the pebbles are smaller, even still, like 100,000 pinheads. The sound of the pebbles washing over each other is a gentle, shushing sound, like the ocean is gently salting the sand, shushing itself to sleep. They're hard to make out at first, but lying out there amongst the bare tree trunks are another kind of sea creature. They have kindly round eyes, black noses, and their fur is all over dappled white. Their bodies end in a tail like a fish's. On land, these seals are not graceful creatures. They have to jerk themselves back and forth in the sand, flopping around on flippers that make even a short walk look like hard work. Maybe that's one of the reasons they prefer to sunbathe. To lie there immobile, occasionally nudging each other with their noses. The pups nestling against their mothers. Underwater is another matter. beneath the surface of the waves. They're fast and graceful. A mere flick of the tail is enough to bring a fish within range of their teeth. And once they're in position, their mouths snap shut in a flash. There goes one now, wriggling his way back into the sea. Once he's in, he's transformed by the ocean. It must be strange to have these two lives. One on land and one under the sea, and to be so different in each one, like waking and dreaming. At the sand's edge, the cliffs rise up into the gentle green hills above. You can see the layers that form the rock, tilted on a diagonal. Grey and black, with dark seams running through them. These layers were laid down over thousands and thousands of years. They're made of the bodies of tiny sea creatures, which covered the ocean floor like a layer of dust on an unswept mantelpiece. And over the years, more and more of these layers built up, and they were packed together by the weight of the ocean. And eventually, they hardened into rocks, which were at the bottom of the sea. And over thousands of years, the pressures under the earth built up and forced the rocks from the depths of the sea out into the world where they formed these cliffs. If you're lucky, you might even pick out a fossilized shell. A round form like a clock face, but one that measures time in hundreds of thousands of years. Or a longer fossil called a trilobite. It looks like an ancient ancestor of the woodlouse. The kind you find if you turn over a log in the woodlands above the beach. At one end of the beach, the cliffs stretch out into the sea. And at the bottom of the cliffs are black boulders, covered in seaweed and barnacles. And out at the furthest point, the waves crash into the boulders, raising a great big plume of spray each time. But here, where it is sheltered, the water runs in gently, lapping over the edge of the rocks. And down between the rocks, we find rock pools. The water in the rock pools is calm. And although they look totally still at first, as you look closer, you realize they're full of life. A starfish clings to the bottom of this one. Its arms are a dusty red. Anemones, which look almost as though they are made of rubber. And across the sandy bottom of the rock pool, little fish dart to and fro. They're silver and brown, camouflaged against the sand. A rock pool is a little neighborhood, where everyone has a job to do. The barnacles and anemones sift the water, and the little crabs clean up the debris that the sea leaves at the bottom of the pool as the tide goes out. And the fish are there to dart around and eat the microscopic animals that float in the water. And you are there to look down on it all. Up on the cliffs is a crop of rich green succulents. These ones have a lovely family name, asphodels. They're plants that are especially juicy. Their leaves are thick and feel almost rubbery to the touch. If you break off one of the leaves and squeeze it, beads of water form on the broken surface. The leaves of the succulents are a green that shades to red at their edges. Here and there, bright flowers in purple and yellow add color like splashes of colored paint on this green carpet that covers the rocks. Like a blanket that has been drawn over the rocks to keep them warm from the sea spray, drawing around them at night as the sun sets on the ocean. A little stream, reaching the edge of the grassland above the beach, forms a little waterfall. Rain fell across the land above the beach, and the drops gathered together in this little stream. As the river ran through its mossy channel, it gathered more and more raindrops to it. This is where they jump down to the beach to join the ocean. You can even see where the stream has worn a groove into the cliff's edge. A notch like the spout of a jug. The stream bounces from rock to rock playfully. Green moss and black algae has grown on the cliff's face. It's wet and it shines golden in the evening light. And down here, where the water runs to the sea, it forms a pattern of little rivers across the sand. You can make a dam with the edge of your shoe and watch as the water flows around it. In the end, there is nothing that will stand in its way. It must feel good to be reunited with the ocean. Maybe it feels like coming home. Look at these rocks, which are so round and so smooth. It looks like they've been carved and polished by hand. But actually, the sculptor is 1,000 times more patient than any human craftsman could be. Every day, the ocean has washed these rocks, licking these boulders into shape. And now, as the tide goes out, they glisten like the back of black whales. The setting sun, reflected in the still shallow water that surrounds them, turns the scene golden and pink. And under the water's surface, The sand looks soft and inviting. The ocean has left them like an invitation. You can't see them without imagining how much fun it would be to jump from stone to stone. They're stepping stones that lead out towards the sea. There is wood scattered all over this beach, washed up by the ocean. Driftwood, sticks and branches that have been blown from trees. And the bark has been stripped from the branches as it rolls in the surf against the beach's pebbles. So the bark is gone, and underneath the wood is white. The pieces come in all different shapes and sizes, some curved, some straight, some flat, and some narrow. This piece looks like an ear. This piece looks like a loaf of French bread, but you wouldn't want to bite into it. This piece would make an excellent walking stick. Families come down to the beach on warm afternoons, and children have made little sculptures out of the driftwood. Someone has stacked a great big pile on their ends, their tips meeting to form a cone, like a wooden teepee, a den you could hide inside. Someone has laid out the wood in the shape of a checkerboard. It's perfect for hopscotch. Who are these stately birds bobbing on the sea's surface, just beyond the point where the waves begin to break against the shore? Their long black beaks look almost too large for their bodies, so they have to carry their head held slightly back. It gives them a rather contemptuous expression, like they're almost too good for this beach. These are brown pelicans. Their color scheme is dashing. A long white neck, which they keep curled on their chest as they bob up and down. And a handsome yellow head, the color of a lemon rind. Although the sea is a little rough, the waves don't seem to bother them much. They're in their element, after all. They sift the water in a great big bag that hangs under their beaks, raising their wings a little as they shake the water from their bills, looking for little fish and other things to eat. And when they take flight, startled by a particularly large wave, they tuck their legs up under their bodies. So they are perfect, aerodynamic, graceful in the air, soaring on outstretched wings. Their great big bills pointing out ahead of them, like arrows that say, "This way for fish." The waves wash against the beach, gently shushing the land to sleep. The sun is setting, far out at the edge of the ocean, and the moon is visible, cratered like a golf ball against the pale blue of this cloudless sky. The tide will come in tonight, refilling the rock pools and washing over the seaweed, lifting the strands of kelp and making them float and fan out, like your hair when you lie back in the bath. The sea sounds are quiet and repetitive, the waves running in and out like a deep breath.